What if I told you the most massive scientific endeavor of the 20th century was shrouded in mystery and deception? Quite an intriguing proposition, isn't it? Well, that's precisely the story of the Manhattan Project, a monumental scientific venture that forever altered the trajectory of human history. In the early 1940s, within the fevered pitch of the Second World War, a seed was planted in the fertile minds of the world's greatest scientists. A seed that would grow into an undertaking so grand, so revolutionary, it was almost beyond comprehension. This was the inception of the Manhattan Project. The objective? To harness the destructive power of atomic energy and create a weapon of unparalleled might. A weapon that could quite literally blow our adversaries back into the Stone Age. The task was Herculean, the stakes, astronomical. It was a race against time, a race against the enemy, and in many ways, a race against the very laws of nature. But the Manhattan Project was not just an extraordinary scientific endeavor. It was also an exercise in secrecy and subterfuge. The entire project was shrouded in shadows, hidden from the public eye, and even from the vast majority of those who were working on it. Its existence was one of the best-kept secrets of the 20th century, a mystery wrapped in an enigma, hidden within a riddle. The scale of the project was staggering. It consumed billions of dollars, employed hundreds of thousands of people, and spanned several secret cities across the United States. It was a behemoth, a leviathan, a titan of scientific and industrial might. Yet, amidst all the secrecy and subterfuge, the monumental scale and mind-boggling complexity, the Manhattan Project was more than just a scientific enterprise. It was a Pandora's box. A box that, once opened, would unleash forces beyond our control and change the world and our place in it forever. This was not just a scientific project, it was a Pandora's box that, once opened, would change the world forever. The tale starts with a letter destined to ignite the Manhattan Project. Short in length but colossal in impact, this was the Einstein-Szilard letter. Penned by acclaimed geniuses of the 20th century, Albert Einstein and Leo Szilard, its message was of monumental importance. The year was 1939, and the ominous of World War II was looming large. Within this daunting backdrop, Einstein and Szilard composed a pressing warning to President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Their ominous words hinted at the horrifying possibility of Nazi Germany constructing an atomic bomb, a weapon of unparalleled destruction. The frightful consequences were unmistakably clear. If the United States remained passive, they could be caught defenseless against a weapon capable of reducing cities to rubble within moments. This letter thus sounded an alarm, urging the United States to initiate their own atomic research program. With the feasibility of the science already established by Einstein and Szilard, the challenge was to convince the president and the nation to make this formidable leap into the unknown. Answering this call to arms, Roosevelt comprehended the ominous nature of the situation and potential repercussions if the United States stayed passive. This led to the creation of the Manhattan Project, a covert and pioneering research program with the mission to develop an atomic bomb before the Germans. The Manhattan Project was marked by the gathering of finest scientific minds of their time, locked in a race against the clock and an invisible adversary. The stakes could not have been higher, the pressure was crushing, yet spurred by an intense sense of urgency and the chilling fear of the consequences of failure, they relentlessly pushed forward. Thus was the birth of the Manhattan Project, born in obscurity, propelled by fear and urgency. This marked the inception of a project that would stretch the limits of human understanding and indelibly alter the course of history. Venture with us into the concealed cities of the Manhattan Project, each bearing its unique narrative and function. From the heart of America, 3 covert metropolises sprang to life, virtually overnight. Los Alamos, cradled in the mesas of New Mexico, Oak Ridge, nestled in the valleys of Tennessee, and Hanford, a hidden gem in the plains of Washington state. These were not your average towns, but covert hubs of scientific exploration, with their existence only disclosed to a chosen few. Los Alamos, the crux of the project, provided a haven for the era's most brilliant minds. Among this secluded landscape, scientists and their families led lives of isolation, their communications scrutinized, their comings and goings tracked, yet the enormity of their work was unbeknownst to many, clueless that they were fashioning the planet's most lethal weapon. Oak Ridge, a city conjured from nothing, provided shelter to tens of thousands of laborers, each playing a tiny, seemingly inconsequential role in a colossal assembly line. They were given to understand that they were aiding the war effort, yet the exact details were cloaked in mystery. Meanwhile, In the desert wilderness of Hanford, gigantic reactors operated ceaselessly, churning out an odd substance known merely as product. Even those dealt with it regularly were oblivious to its real purpose. Life in these concealed cities was an enigma. On the surface, they were the epitome of Americana, with their soda shops, baseball games and movie nights. Yet beneath this facade of normality, they were worlds unto themselves, every facet of their existence shaped by the dictates of the project. These were cities shrouded in secrets, where anonymity was the norm, curiosities were dissuaded, and truth often took a stranger form than fiction. They, the meeting grounds of the mundane and the monumental, of the ordinary and the extraordinary. These were the shielded landscapes of the Manhattan Project, the birthplace of the atomic age. Behind the scenes of the Manhattan Project, an unseen army of workers tirelessly labored day in and night, kept in the dark about the real objective of their work. This clandestine workforce, comprised of carpenters, engineers, miners, and factory workers, each one merely a cog in a vast and intricate machine, remained oblivious to scheme they were contributing to. These workers were not just unaware of their role in a monumental secret of the 1940s, but were also unknowingly playing a part creation of a weapon of mass destruction. Envision a day in their life, laboring tirelessly, returning home drained, completely oblivious of the true purpose of the work they had put their sweat and blood into. This was no accident, but a manipulative tactic employed by the government to ensure the success of their project. Such secrecy raises pressing ethical questions. Not only were these workers denied the right to knowledge, but their forced involvement in the creation of a mass-destructive weapon raises critical moral dilemmas. The question remains. Did the eventual outcome justify these means? Was it right to strip these workers of their autonomy for the sake of a greater goal? These ethical quandaries continue to fuel intense debates even today. These faceless laborers, numbering in the thousands, were unacknowledged heroes of the Manhattan Project. Their persistence and dedication, albeit unknowingly, facilitated the dawn of the atomic age. This episode from history serves glaring testament to the power of knowledge, the weight of secrecies, and the ethical conundrums that may arise on the road to progress. However, the Manhattan Project carries a weighty toll, a human cost that extends far beyond the war casualties. In the depths of this colossal venture, a silent killer prowled, unseen yet lethal. The very force that was harnessed to end the war also endangered those who tirelessly worked to control it: radiation. Workers at the project, unknowingly exposed to hazardous radiation, contended with health risks that were largely minimized or overlooked in the haste to construct the bomb. Yet the workers weren't the only victims. Nearby residents, unaware of the activities of the clandestine cities, were also vulnerable to unseen dangers. Invisible radioactive particles swept by wind and water infiltrated their homes, their food, their very existence. It was a silent invasion, one that engraved its mark not on infrastructures and landscapes, but on human bodies and genes. The long-term consequences of this exposure were extensive and heart-rending. Many suffered from radiation sickness, their bodies invaded by an enemy they couldn't perceive or comprehend. Others developed cancers and other diseases years or even decades later, the deferred cost of their unwitting sacrifice. Families were disrupted not by war, but by an unseen aggressor that lingered long after the end of the hostilities. However, the true magnitude of this human cost was veiled in secrecy. The health risks, the radiation sickness, the cancers, they were the project's grim secrets, concealed from the public eye. The workers and their families, the inhabitants of the covert cities, they were the project's unseen casualties. Their suffering a poignant testament to the terrible price of scientific progression. Government, eager to laud the success of the Manhattan Project, was less enthusiastic to admit its shortcomings. The human cost was dismissed and ignored, a truth kept concealed for years. It was a dark chapter in the narrative of the atomic age, a stark reminder that the journey to power is often littered with sacrifice and suffering. Human cost of the Manhattan Project was a tale kept in shadows for years, a grim chapter in the chronicles of the atomic age. The Manhattan Project's imprint carries far beyond the confines of World War II. As the remnants of the Second World War cleared, mankind found itself balanced on the edge of an unprecedented era, heavily influenced by the Manhattan Project. The profound impact of this project extends to crucial episodes of human history such as the Cold War, the nuclear arms race, and the consequential ethical debates over nuclear power and weaponry. The Cold War, A tense showdown between the United States and the Soviet Union unfolded on an international stage, with nuclear weapons, the offspring of the Manhattan Project, acting as critical game-changers, tactically utilized by both superpowers. The project unknowingly set the stage for a revamped style of warfare, where battles were fought in labs and political arenas instead of trenches. In this regard, the Manhattan Project ignited the nuclear arms race, prompting nations to hastily bolster their atomic prowess, driven by fear, national pride, and a survival instinct. Our world metamorphosed from a conventional war zone to a nuclear chessboard. The project ushered in a new vision of power, profoundly transforming the essence of war. Nonetheless, the lasting legacy of the Manhattan Project is not confined to warfare. It also ignited a storm of discussions about the ethics of nuclear power and weaponry. Nuclear power showcased the potential of boundless energy, possibly resolving the global energy crises. On the other hand, the destructive potential of nuclear weapons threatened our very existence. These ongoing debates continue to mold our policies and perspectives on nuclear energy and weapons. In truth, the Manhattan Project is more than just a historical milestone. It signifies a turning point that redirected the course of humanity. It embodies human ingenuity, our ability to harness the primal forces of nature. Yet it also stands as a stark reminder of our extraordinary power. A power that holds the capacity to either light up our cities or annihilate the Manhattan Project. A testament to human ingenuity and a chilling reminder of our colossal power. Peeling back the layers of the Manhattan Project, let's finally unveil the secrets that have been shrouded in mystery for over 7 decades. This project, an enigma within history, has not only been the birthplace of the atomic bomb but also a launchpad for countless scientific innovations, some of we're only discovering now. As the veils lift, we're beginning to understand the magnitude of the Manhattan Project's clandestine operations. They were not merely constructing an instrument of mass destruction, they were trailblazing an entirely new realm of scientific discovery. The Manhattan Project, hidden behind its well-guarded secrets, was indeed a crucible of innovation. Recently declassified information has cast new light on the project's secret undertakings. One such revelation is the development of an alternate method for uranium enrichment, thermal diffusion. Initially thought of as a secondary option, latest insights reveal its indispensable role in producing enriched uranium for the bomb. In another surprising twist, a fourth city, Dayton, Ohio, has been recognized for its hidden contribution, the production of polonium-210, an integral component of the bomb's detonator. As historians and scientists continue to explore the project's archives, more covert operations and scientific breakthroughs are being brought to light, painting a more comprehensive picture of this colossal endeavor. Despite the ongoing debates, one fact remains unchallenged. The Manhattan Project was an unprecedented venture of scientific achievement and secrecy. As more secrets unfold and hidden threads are unraveled, our understanding of the Manhattan Project's complex legacy continues to grow. Today, we stand at the precipice of a new layer of revelation, ready to delve deeper into the Manhattan Project's powerful saga of science, secrecy, and world-changing potential.